The fluorescent lights of the diner flickered above Emma's wheelchair as she counted the crumpled bills one more time. $1, another dollar, and 3 quarters, 2 dimes, and a nickel. Exactly $3. Her 9th birthday, and this was all she had. She pressed her thin fingers against the worn menu, her eyes tracing the prices she'd already memorized. The cheapest item was a small stack of pancakes for $2.95. That would leave her with a nickel. Just enough, she thought, trying to smile through the tightness in her chest. Just enough. Emma had been saving these $3 for 6 months, ever since her mother had whispered on a particularly difficult night that they might not be able to afford a birthday celebration this year. Every penny she'd found on the sidewalk during their walks to the clinic, every quarter, her grandmother had slipped into her pocket, with a conspiratorial wink before she passed. Away in October, every dime she'd chosen not to spend on the candy that other kids bought so easily, it had all led to this moment. $3. Her independence. Her birthday gift to herself. She'd told her mother she was going to the library after her physical therapy session, which wasn't entirely a lie. The library was next door and she would go there afterward. But first, she wanted this one thing. One meal, chosen by herself, paid for by herself, in a real restaurant like a normal girl. She wanted to sit at a table and order from a menu and feel, just for 20 minutes, like she wasn't the girl everyone pitied. The girl whose legs didn't work. The girl whose father had left when the medical bills became too much. The girl whose mother worked 3 jobs and still couldn't afford birthday cake. The waitress, a tired-looking woman with kind eyes and grey roots showing through her dyed blonde hair, approached Emma's table with a gentle smile that made Emma's throat tighten. She knew that look. Everyone had that look when they saw her. "What can I get you, sweetheart?" the waitress asked, her voice softer than it probably was with other customers. "The small pancake stack, please," Emma said, trying to sound confident, adult. "And just water is fine." The waitress nodded, not writing it down, and Emma wondered if she'd memorized it because it was such a small order, or if she felt sorry for her. The thought made Emma's cheeks burn with shame she tried desperately to hide. At the table next to her, a man sat alone with a little boy who couldn't have been more than 5. The boy was coloring with intense concentration, his tongue poking out slightly as he worked on what appeared to be a dinosaur. The man, his father, Emma assumed, was staring at his own phone. But something about his expression caught Emma's attention. He looked worried, the kind of worried her mother looked when she thought Emma was asleep. "Daddy, can I get the chocolate chip pancakes?" the little boy asked, not looking up from his coloring. "Of course, buddy," the father said, setting down his phone and ruffling his son's hair with a tenderness that made Emma's heart ache. She'd had that once. Barely remembered it, but she'd had it. Emma looked away quickly, focusing on her own hands folded in her lap. She wouldn't think about that. Not today. Today was about the $3 and the pancakes and the small victory of doing something for herself. When her food arrived, it was glorious. 3 golden pancakes, steam rising from their fluffy surfaces, with a small container of syrup and a pat of butter on the side. The waitress had also brought a tiny cup of whipped cream, which definitely didn't come with the $2.95 pancake order. "Happy birthday, honey," the waitress whispered, giving Emma's shoulder a gentle squeeze before walking away. Emma's eyes filled with tears, but she blinked them back fiercely. She would not cry. Not here, not now. Instead, she picked up her fork and cut into the pancakes, taking her first bite with determination. They were perfect, absolutely perfect. She was halfway through her meal when she heard the chair scrape beside her. The man from the next table was standing there, his son peeking curiously from behind his father's leg. "Excuse me," the man said, and Emma looked up, confused. "I'm sorry to interrupt your breakfast, but I couldn't help overhearing that it's your birthday." Emma nodded slowly, unsure where this was going. Her instincts told her to be wary. She'd learned that attention from strangers usually meant pity, and pity always made her feel smaller. "My name is David," the man continued, gesturing to his son. "This is my son Caleb. Today is actually his birthday too." "Really?" Emma said, surprised, looking at the little boy who was now smiling shyly at her. Really, David confirmed. He just turned 5. How old are you today? 9, Emma said quietly. David smiled, but it was a sad smile, and Emma recognized something in his eyes that she'd seen in her mother's: loss, grief, the kind that doesn't go away, but that you learn to carry. I have a strange request, David said, pulling out the chair across from Emma. Would you mind if Caleb and I joined you for a few minutes? You see, this is our first birthday without Caleb's mum. She passed away 7 months ago, and I've been dreading this day, trying to figure out how to make it special for him when I can barely hold myself together. His voice cracked slightly on the last words, and he cleared his throat. But seeing you here, celebrating by yourself with such dignity and courage, it reminded me what birthdays are supposed to be about. Not about what we have or don't have, but about marking another year of life, of survival, of being here despite everything that tries to keep us down. Emma stared at him, speechless. No one had ever talked to her like this before, like she was wise instead of pitiful, like her presence meant something. So I was wondering, David continued, if you would let Caleb and me celebrate with you. A joint birthday breakfast. My treat, of course, for all of us. And if you're willing, maybe you could help Caleb blow out the candle I had them put on his pancakes. I think he'd like having a birthday friend. I know I'd appreciate the company, and honestly, you'd be helping us more than you know. Emma's throat was so tight she could barely breathe. She looked at little Caleb, who was watching her with hopeful eyes, and then at David, whose expression was open and sincere. There was no pity there, just human connection. Just one person reaching out to another in shared understanding of what it meant to struggle, to lose, to keep going anyway. Okay, she whispered, and then louder, yes, I'd like that. David's face broke into a genuine smile, the first real one Emma had seen from him. He gestured to the waitress, who came over with a curious expression. We'd like to order some more food, David said. What would you like, Emma? Anything on the menu. And we need another order of chocolate chip pancakes with a candle, plus whatever the birthday special is. This is a celebration. The waitress looked between them, understanding dawning on her face, and her eyes got suspiciously shiny. Coming right up, she said, her voice thick with emotion. Over the next hour, Emma experienced something she'd never had before, a real birthday party. David ordered more food than the 3 of them could possibly eat. Eggs and bacon, hash browns, fresh fruit, orange juice, and even a special birthday crepe that the cook made off menu. They sang Happy Birthday together, with the entire diner staff joining in. And Emma and Caleb blew out their candles at the same time, making wishes with their eyes squeezed tight. But more than the food, more than the celebration, it was the conversation that changed something fundamental in Emma's heart. David talked to her like an equal, asking her opinions about movies and books, listening intently when she spoke about her dreams of becoming a writer. He told stories about his late wife that made Caleb giggle, keeping her memory alive with joy instead of only sadness. And gradually, Emma found herself sharing too, about her mother's strength, about the challenges and small victories of her daily life, about how hard it was to feel normal when everyone treated you like you were breakable. You know what I've learned this year? David said, cutting up Caleb's pancakes while Emma listened. I've learned that strength isn't about having what you need. It's about moving forward even when you don't. You came here today with $3 to celebrate yourself because you understood. Something most adults never learn, that you deserve to mark your existence, to claim your joy regardless of your circumstances. That's not just strength, that's wisdom. Emma felt something shift inside her chest, like a locked door opening onto a room filled with light. For the first time in her 9 years, she didn't feel defined by what she lacked: working legs, present father, financial security. Instead, she felt seen for who she was, a person of value, of courage, of worth. When breakfast was finally over, David insisted on giving Emma his phone number, written on a napkin. My wife used to say that the universe puts people in our path when we need them most, he said. You've given Caleb and me a gift today, Emma. You've shown us that joy is still possible, that connection still matters, that birthdays can still be beautiful. If you or your mother ever need anything, a ride, a meal, a friend, please call. I mean that. Emma took the napkin with trembling fingers, and for the first time all day, she let the tears fall. But they weren't tears of sadness or shame. They were tears of overwhelming gratitude, of recognition, of feeling valued in a way she'd never experienced before. David also insisted on ordering food to go, 2 full meals packed in containers. For your mother, he said simply. Every mom deserves a birthday dinner she doesn't have to cook. As Emma wheeled herself toward the door, her lap filled with takeout containers and her pocket, holding a napkin with a phone number. That felt like a promise. She turned back one last time. David and Caleb were waving at her, and the waitress was wiping tears from her eyes with her apron. "Thank you," Emma called out, her voice stronger than she'd ever heard it. "Thank you for the best birthday I've ever had." Outside, the autumn sun was breaking through the clouds, casting everything in golden light. Emma sat in her wheelchair for a moment, breathing in the crisp air, feeling the warmth on her face. Her $3 remained in her pocket, unspent. She'd arrived at the diner thinking those $3 represented her independence, her dignity, her worth. But she left understanding something far more profound, that true wealth had nothing to do with money and everything to do with human kindness, with connection, with the courage to reach out and the grace to receive. She would call her mother soon and tell her about this morning. She would share the food David had sent. And tonight, when her mother came home exhausted from work, Emma would tell her the whole story about the man and his son, about the shared birthdays and shared grief, about how sometimes the universe sends you exactly what you need in the most unexpected packages. But for now, Emma simply sat in the sunshine, her heart full in a way it had never been before, understanding finally that she had never been poor at all. She had been rich in the ways that truly mattered, and today a stranger had helped her see it. In a small diner on an ordinary Tuesday morning, $3 had taught her nothing, but an act of profound human kindness had taught her everything.